small little room. So that's a good plan. I'm going to go to the grandparents' room tonight. Good call, Yates. You're good for
Dominic, you know how you keep them in a room, keep them from coming out. You remember that Sheltie I talked about earlier that you used to hurt them? The Sheltie guards the door at night and keeps them in their room.
There you go. You're all about dogs.
I'm just trying to operate
on ESPN Radio, where we talk about dogs as children. Clinton Yates, Media Times, Dominic Foxworth. I got to say this, though. The men's national title game, I have always found as a watching experience to be a little, not quite anticlimactic, but sort of like not off base. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's at 9:20 on a Monday night every time. And if you're on the East Coast, like the sacrifices you have to make to watch the game in public or with your friends are very, very difficult. And so you almost always end up just watching it at home. And if it becomes a boring game at halftime, I presume half of America just goes to sleep on it. You know what I mean? I don't know what the solution is to that, because if there's West Coast teams, it's a different situation. I personally think you could just move the game to Sunday and move the Final Four games to Friday. That's just me.
I love when your old shows. Like you are the oldest person in our crew, but in many ways you are the only one that's unmarried and you don't have kids. You seem like the youngest, coolest of us all. And then occasionally your old shows. It's like, hey, 9 o'clock is too late for me to watch.
It's not for me.
When you ain't got no kids, you ain't no wife,
America.
you live alone, you work for ESPN. Like watching a 9 o'clock game is not that tough for you, bro.
It's not
late.
about me.
It's late. No, Clayton's right. You're wrong. I mean, that's half the reason I moved to Los Angeles is so that Monday Night Football ends at 8:30. It's the greatest thing in the world. I love it so much. I mean, the timing is perfect for me out here in the West.
When I lived in Denver, it's not quite 3 hours, it's just 2 hours different, but I do miss that. I do miss being able to watch stuff earlier in the day and still have my night left to me, so I'm just jealous. That's what this comes down to. Your boys is out here making noise, apparently.
But I mean, the thing is that in the morning, so staying up for a late game, and then the next morning, the kids wake up at 7 anyway. You don't have that. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to hear you complain about a late game, because tomorrow morning, or the morning after the game, you can sleep in. You can meander around, go to brunch. You know what I'm doing? I'm telling these kids, or I'm up trying to make pancakes.
Morning brunch, Dominic?
Yeah, a lot of breakfast.
I mean, I don't know what you unmarried, childrenless people do. You probably have brunch on Tuesday morning. I don't know what you do.
This office right next to you.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this game, though. I mean, this is arguably the best possible matchup. You know, in terms of just, I think, storylines, the best teams. It's a great. Like, we've been talking about these last two games and how both of these teams really overpowered their opponents. Finally, when they're playing each other, it seems a lot more fitting, I think. I don't know. I mean, one would hope we could get the same kind of climax that we had last year. I don't know if that's possible, but I think it's going to be close, at least.
There's no way to revisit. I mean, there's just no way to ask for anything as exciting as last year's final was. I mean, it was a good game, and it ended on two of the greatest shots of all time. But I do think this game, I think there's going to be some. I always like it when rooting interests can be largely separated between the casual fan watching the game. And I do think for the average college basketball fan, there are people who are going to look at UNC and say, oh, yeah, that's what I know, that's what I like. I want to see Roy Williams dance around in front of his kids. And there's going to be other people that are going to look at Gonzaga and say, they're the underdog, therefore they're absolutely who I'm going for. I don't know if I consider Gonzaga a real underdog, not just in terms of this game, you know what I mean? But it's not like, well, rather, they're an underdog without being a Cinderella, which is a good story in this case.